What is up, everybody? It is Friday, 4:30 p.m. You're done with work. You ain't got shit else to do. So thank you for joining me and Luke Betya for this week's happy hour, where we break down from a gambling and DFS perspective all 12 fights from UFC Vegas 53, headlined by Rob Font and Chito Vera. But first, I am your host, Monk, aka the MonkMMATician. Right below me is my co-host, Lou Betya. You can find me MonkMMATics on YouTube and Twitter. Guys, get over to that YouTube channel and help me get to 250 subs. I am about 10 away before this pay-per-view, so let's get it going. And also, real quick, thanks for joining us, chat. Be sure to hit that like and sub to the MMA Engine so you do not miss any content coming up for any of these UFC cards. Lou Betya, how's it going? How'd you do last week? And what do you got going this week? Are you excited for the card?
I did hit a yam bag shot last week on the Dean Barry Mike Jackson debacle. That video of Mike Jackson rolling around on the ground holding his dick is like hilarious. And then I look in chat and I see that Brady wants some bags to be yammed. So as the yam bag whisperer, I will oblige. I found some interesting spots in this card. The common theme I'm going to have this week, I have a lot of guys that I traditionally really like, and I'm fading them because I feel like this is a test from the gambling gods being like, do you want to lose money and root for your guys, or you want to make the smart pick? So I did okay last week. The two spots that I can't believe killed me were Lynn's round 2 knockout. He had him. The ref tells Prochnow, if you don't fight back, I'm stopping it. So he needs 2-3 more punches to get him out of there, and then he shoots for a takedown like an idiot. And I'm like, well, that's done. and I don't even mind losing this one. Is Parsons Elder? I had a couple of fight goes distance, but I had the round 1 sub for Parsons, and man, Elder was tough. Like, it wasn't Parsons, he dominated him, but Elder just showed a lot of toughness. And be curious to back Elder next time on a full camp. Like to see what they give him.
100%.
That's how you learn. I mean, the read was right. I just didn't know that Elder was so tough, and you live, you learn. But did okay. I mean, main card was all right, but I got some props I really like on this card. I got some interesting stuff, and little contrarian in some spots. But let's get to it, brah.
Absolutely, let's get into it. First things first, Papa Chuck in the chat. Eric bets fights. I know you're still at work, but man, it is nice, and it's time to be off work in Central Time. Eric, you gotta get on it, bud. Just tell your boss that. You got buddies at Central Time that don't work today. Kristen, thank you for joining us. Grateful dude, etc. And yeah, Lou, let's get right into it. First fight of the night. Gonna be newcomer Tatsuro Taira going against Carlos Candelario. 9,200 for Taira, 7,000 for Candelario. So a huge difference in salary here. Taira, UFC newcomer, and he's 9,200. I have no stats for this guy. He is 10-0 in his career with 8 of his 10 UFC wins coming by way of finish. 5 subs, 3 knockouts. Carlos Candelario did 2 separate stints on Dana White Contender Series. Won one of them, lost one of them. Has a decent pace, 3.82 points a minute. Only scored 71 when he won his one DWCS fight, and when he lost, 109. So a decent amount of points coming out of Candelario fights, but he also puts on a pretty good pace too. I don't have a ton for this one, Lou. I'm going to be I guess playing a bit of Taira in GPPs, but I'll be well under the field. Give me more Carlos Candelario, not only for salary relief, but if he finds something, if his ground game, or if he can rather stifle Tatsuro's ground game, which it looks like he has one from the Japanese regional scene, how's that going to stack up against Candelario's BJJ? So that's what we're going to find out here. I like the upside of Candelario and the salary relief as well. What do you got for this one?
It's a tricky fight.
For sure.
Because Taira, he's beating up bums, but he's doing his job. And Candelario, I could easily make the case that he's undefeated. I thought he won the Contender Series fight. I don't think it's a robbery, but it was very close. And he got steamed a little bit. He opened at about plus 220. He's down to plus 195. I still think it's a pretty good price for Candelario, to be honest. But this is tricky for me because it's going to become about optics. If Taira just ragdolls him in the first round, I think this is going to go the distance. Let me get that out of the way. If you want to take fight goes, I think it's minus 115 over 2.5. All the time props are good here. Taira's pretty nasty at getting back takes, but Candelario just really good at getting up. He gets taken down a lot, and he can get up. He's a good get up game. We don't know what Taira's cardio is like. this is really a contender series fight. I mean, let's make
Yeah.
no bones about it. It really is. And I think they're pretty equal. I think you got to lean with the dog here at plus 195 for Candelario. If you want to even get trickier, I think Candelario decision is not a bad play. I really think that he's going to get strong. What we know is that he can go a full 15 minutes. His decision props plus 400. I don't hate it. But you're already getting like 2-1 on your money just taking them in case something weird happens. So, because we have been getting some weird stuff happening these first fights of the night. So I'm going to back Candelario to start my day at plus 195.
I love it. Yeah, I'm on that side as well. So I love to hear you back in. I just don't see how anybody could play the Tatsuro money line without seeing what he can do on this level. So
you're getting value, and you're getting value on his 7,000 salary because when that came out, I think he was plus 220 when that came out. So you're getting a little bit of value toward a salary. I always like seeing that when a line shifts pretty big after salaries come out.
That's a good stat. Maybe I should start keeping that as well for the Friday show. That is pretty interesting. But yeah, that makes me feel even better about it because that is a big dog. And if we can pull that off on DraftKings, I mean, if he gets a win, he's going to be difficult to replace off that optimal lineup. So second fight of the night, Gina Danger Mazzani going against the Shanimal, Shanna Young. Some great nicknames here. Gotta love it. Why don't you go ahead and start this one off? Is there any value on that Shanna Young money line? Because I know you're not playing Gina Mazzani straight up.
I am not playing Gina Mazzani straight up, but I am playing Gina Mazzani.
Yes,
I have two bets on this one. I just don't think Shanna Young is. This is probably the last fight she's going to have in the UFC. I got to imagine that this is it for her. Like the narrative is simple. Shanna Young is allegedly better on the feet. Gina Mazzani's not really great on the feet. On the ground, it's a massacre. I think Mazzani's so much better. Weezy brought up an interesting stat earlier in the week. If you look at their fight histories, it's just not a lot of fights going to the judges here. Oh. So I'm going to play Mazzani. I'm going to play her round 1, round 2. It's plus 250. If this goes to the third, she's probably toast. Probably going to get pieced up. If you wanted to, and I've seen some people kind of looking at the Shanna Young round 3 line. Like Shanna Young round 3, I guess is all right, but I don't think she gets that far. I think Mazzani just ragdolls her. She's going to get her out of there in the first or second. I think that as soon as she gets her down, and keep in mind that like with her last fight with Cachoeira, if she doesn't get stood up, I mean, she was already gassed, but if she doesn't get stood up, who knows? Like, I mean, who knows what happens? Like, it's a weird stand-up that they did. But, yeah, I think Mazzani is just a clear better fighter. I don't like the minus 180, but the round 1, round 2 at plus 250 is very intriguing. And fight doesn't go as plus money. So, yeah, I think that's both ways to play it. And I think this is going to be the last time we see the Shanimal. Fight doesn't go as plus 110, which is not bad. Like, because it plays into both their win conditions of Mazzani dominating early in the ground or her gassing out. So I like both sides of that.
I like it. I like the play. I'm also going to be on Gina Mazzani for DraftKings. I will have none of Shanna Young in cash, maybe, 5 to 8% in GPPs, just, for, I guess I'll call it the Mike Jackson effect at this point. But Gina Mazzani is someone I will be pretty heavy on in cash for sure. Because I think she just wins. She beats Shanna Young, 9.5 times out of 10, 8 to 9 times out of 10. I won't go 9.5, but a lot of times out of 10. And I think she's going to be good for GPPs as well. Mazzani has a fantastic pace. In fact, surprisingly fantastic. 5.03 points per minute is what she scores. She only has 2 wins in the UFC, but when she does win, averaging 127.88. So just fantastic numbers. And the Shanimal giving up 5.04 raw DraftKings points per minute. Pretty much the exact number Mazzani scores. So if this plays according to the stats, Mazzani is going to score in the triple digits with a win. She is $1,100 over her average salary, which is concerning. But I think in this case, that does have a good chance of paying off. So I'll keep this one short. Give me Mazzani a ton in cash and give me Mazzani, a good piece in GPPs as well. Because I really do think, like Lou said, she gets this done. And if it's a first round, I mean, women's flyweight alone is the best weight class to play as far as optimal, has the best percentages of fighters making the optimal lineup. So this is a perfect recipe for me playing Gina Mazzani. Absolutely love it.
Third cheat. You could cheat, Monk.
What's that?
I mean, her boyfriend just openly admitted to cheating in a fight. She could cheat her way to a victory here.
Who is that?
Tim Elliott.
Elliott. I almost said Elkins, but I knew that wasn't right. Yeah,
now, I'm
that's
not bold enough to call a Yambag shot. That's coming. The Yambag shot's coming a little later, but yeah, you know, it's
a no bags to be yam shot.
No bags to be yam, but we're not going to call it there. I'm gonna save my one time for a little later.
All right, there we go. Mike Money Breeden taking on Natan Levy. Like you said, for the first fight, this is kind of a contender series fight. Basically, both guys 0-1 in the UFC. I will go ahead and start this off because I don't have a ton to say about it. I mean, the salaries are pretty wide. Natan Levy, I guess I'm going to be on his side. I think he does win the fight over Breeden. Breeden, we just haven't seen a ton of him, obviously, in the UFC. His first fight lasted like a minute, 20 seconds before he got, knocked out by Alexander Hernandez. Natan Levy has a decent pace, 2.47 points per minute. I believe he lost to Rafa Garcia in his first fight. But it was decently close, I believe. But he did get outscored by 1.5 per minute, just a bit more than that. And he's coming in $500 over his salary from last time. I just don't trust Mike Breeden whatsoever. I have to see more of this guy. He got, knocked down and pieced up by Alexander Hernandez relatively quickly. So I'm just going to fade this one in general, I think, for DK. I'll be fading Breeden. Give me a little bit, again, for the whole, Mike Jackson effect. Give me like 5 to 10% of Breeden and GPPs. I probably will not play him in cash. Levy, I'll probably play a little bit in cash and some in GPPs as well, just because he could get the finish here. He's got 3 submission wins in his career, and Breeden, I guess, never has been finished by sub. I thought he had been finished by sub, but just a couple of knockouts. So there's always a chance when you get these newcomers with low UFC experience. So that's how I'm leaning. What are you leaning for this one?
I don't really know what to make of Levy, if I'm being honest. I mean, he looks like a god.
Right.
His takedowns look pretty good. I don't know. And I don't know what to make of Breeden. I mean, he came in on short notice. So I can forgive it. Like, he's the more experienced fighter. He might have an advantage on the feet. I don't think he's going to have a cardio advantage. I don't think he's going to have an advantage on the ground. I'm not going to bet this one, but like, Levy decision is plus 130. It's not horrible. I think Levy doesn't seem to have, in the tape I've seen on him, he doesn't seem to have huge killer instinct.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's got some submissions, but he kind of falls into them more than like he's proactive. Like, if they're there, he takes them, but he's a good minute winner. I think Levy, I mean, I'm going to look up what round 3 decision is. I don't think that's a horrible way to maybe cut down a little bit of this equity. He will get stronger, I believe, as the fight goes on. So Levy round 3,
see that.
Levy round 3 are decisions, even money. So I don't hate that at all either. If he gets him out of there late, if it goes to the judges, I imagine the wrestling is going to win the day. We're going to probably get a pretty boring 30-27, but yeah, I mean, the round 3 I think is certainly in play with his style, and he does have a round 3 submission in his career. So, but I'm probably staying away from this. If you have to play it, I kind of like the even money side, round 3 decision combo, but nothing here for me. It's a weird fight with not a lot of true UFC information like to go with here.
Exactly. That's kind of just cements my side on, play Levy in cash, maybe a bit in GPPs. That'll be about it. Next fight, Gabe Green going against Johan Lanace. Why don't you go ahead and start this one off? I think I know which side you're going to be leaning, though.
Yeah, so this was tricky because earlier in the week, Green gets steamed from plus odds to minus odds.
Mm-hmm.
And very early in the week, too. So, you see that and you're like, well, what the hell's going on? And then I start watching. He went from plus 160 to currently minus 135. That's a big swing. I mean, that's a huge swing in the line. Now,
yeah,
I'm not going to hold too much in this he had a heart attack thing because I know that's going around. I know it sounds like a ridiculous thing for me to say, but I worry more about his mentality of having the heart attack more than I do physically, because if he's got physical issues, he's not getting cleared. Like, nobody's letting him take this fight. So let me put that one aside. The narrative with Green is he could take a beating. His striking defense is shit. And Rodriguez pieced him up and didn't get him out of there. But like, for me, and I love Daniel Rodriguez, he's more of an accumulation of punches to get you out of there more than a knockout shot.
Yep.
Green has good cardio, and Green's good on the ground. So there's a lot to like about him. On the Johan side, the power is unbelievable. I mean, and he's fast. Now, there's concerns with his cardio that he slows down in maybe like the second rounds of fights, like he's got 7.5 minute cardio. They're fair concerns. His power still carries though. Like I've seen him, get taken into deep water a little bit. And he comes in and that power is ridiculous. Now, also what I like about him is his wrestling. While I'd give Green a slight advantage in the wrestling, I like that he's proactive with his wrestling. I mean, he's the bigger guy. He's going to be the stronger guy as far as I'm concerned. He can either get him out of there on the feet. He could take him down and get some ground and pound. It's not going to take many shots. I don't care about Green's historical durability. This guy's a savage, man. So you could play Green round 3 if you really, I understand that angle if you doubt Johan's cardio, but we've seen this before with guys where they're undefeated coming in the UFC, and it's we just can't make these assumptions that his cardio is going to be bad in this level. So I'm going to go with the thing that I see the most. I'm going to take Lioness by round 1 knockout at plus 350. I'm gonna back it up with a parlay piece if the fight doesn't go. It's minus 250. I mean, it's you could pair it with something else, but I think this is Johan's fight to lose. I think he could get him out of there. I think Burlinson's better than Gabe Green at the very least. They're comparable. Well, Burlinson's very good. I mean, they're comparable, and Johan's not beating bums on the regional scene either. He's not facing 1-0 guys. So I'm gonna take the dog shot here. I'm gonna go with I have at least one Canadian. I don't know if I'll get to another one, but I'm gonna roll with Johan here, and but I expect this to be probably the fight of the night, or at least while it lasts, it'll be the most fun we see.
Yeah, 100%. Cut to Gabe Green somewhere, just dropping his knife and fork while you're talking smack, saying Justin Burlinson better than Gabe Green. Well, I don't necessarily disagree, but I will agree with you for sure that I am going to be playing both sides of this fight because I think it's going to be an absolute banger. You have to play the Johan side for several reasons. For all of them that you said, the first round knockout potential is insane. So I'll definitely be playing that or playing him in GPPs for that. I'll probably avoid cash with Johan, and I might just avoid cash altogether with this fight, to be honest. But also 7,700 is one of the best salaries to play overall, not just in underdog salaries. It's made the optimal lineup more than any other salary 21 times out of 54 uses. The numbers behind that salary are ridiculous. And in this case, we have a guy that has one punch knockout power going up against Gabe Green. 1-1 in the UFC, does have a fantastic pace, but also gives up 4.14 points a minute, and 105 is what got scored on him when he lost. In fact, almost 106. Also 8,500, a fantastic salary to play. And Gabe Green did make the optimal lineup in his last fight. So we've got a few things going for us. In fact, his floor, when he did lose, he scored 51.13. I guess that was probably against, Rodriguez. So that did go the distance.
It was short notice too, Monk, by the way. It was a short notice take. So
that's true.
Let's throw that in there.
That's true. But if he is able to get Johan out of the first round, first 6-7 minutes, this could really turn. So I guess I'm going to be playing both sides for GPP. Probably, I was going to say more Johan than Gabe, and that might be the case, but I'll just keep it safe and say that I will be playing about at least, 25-30% of Johan, because that first round finish, opportunity is crazy, pretty much off the charts. And Gabe Green, maybe about the same, maybe a little bit less, but both salaries are fantastic to play. Let's keep it moving. We got a Figueiredo sighting here, but it is not Davison. Francisco Figueiredo going up against Daniel Da Silva Lacerda.
Right.
We'll call him Da Silva because that's what he wants to be called, so I have no problem with that. 1-1 is Figueiredo in the UFC. 0-1 for Daniel Da Silva. I'll go ahead and start this one off. I think Figgy is going to be good for cash this week, $8,000. I think he probably wins this fight. I'm not the most confident on it, but he does score okay, 2.84 points a minute, 76.4 when he wins. And yeah, if this does go past the second round, you can count on a decent score from Francisco Figueiredo. Daniel Da Silva seems, and I can't wait to hear what you say, but he seems like a first round or bust type fighter. A lot like, maybe not a lot like, Johan, the guy we just compared him to, because he might actually be, more well-rounded than Daniel Da Silva. But I think Da Silva is kind of a first-rounder bust guy, and the fact that he is more expensive than Figueiredo here makes no sense to me, even if it's only by $200. Da Silva did fight for just over 5 minutes, gave up 8 points a minute. So if Figgy, who I believe can land some takedowns here, and that's, most of his game, he does love the wrestling, the ground game. If he can land a few takedowns here, this one might be, just chalk decision for Figgy. And in that case, I like him to score 75, 80 points. Give him to me for cash. Give me a little bit of Da Silva and GPP because, hey, like we said, first round finish upside, you have to play into that. But I won't play Da Silva in cash. What do you got for this one? Anything jumping out at you as far as lines or line movement? So this line has flipped, it looks like.
So I'm not like the DFS guy that you are, but every once in a while, blind squirrel finds a nut. And when he fought Malcolm Gordon, that was the night that Billy Q got like 7,000 points, beating up Mowgli.
Oh yeah, okay.
I had to just get somebody for relief, so I took Malcolm the Iron Chin Gordon, and didn't really think much of it. I'm like, man, I just need somebody to plug in there. And I'm watching this fight, and I'm like, oh my God, Figueiredo has got to be the worst fighter I've ever seen in my life. Like, no volume, no urgency. Like, I don't know what he does well. So the nice thing I have to say about Da Silva is he hasn't lost to Malcolm Gordon. And honestly, that's going to be the tiebreaker here. I think, look, I think if Da Silva comes out and blitzes him in the first, I have a couple of weird plays I'm going to make here, but I think Da Silva can get a 10-8. I think he can get him out of there, but that's not how I'm playing it. So Da Silva is a weirdo that gets tired early, and Figueiredo is, let's face it, a dirty cheater, in my opinion. So what happens when you have that?
Oh, I should have seen it coming.
It's time for the Yam Bag special at 20-1. There will be a foul in this fight. This is the Yam Bag special. And on top of that, I am taking the draw.
I was going to say you set it up with the 10-8 there a few sentences ago.
I think there's a couple of ways it could play out. There could be a point deduction. There could be a 10-8 with Da Silva. Shit, if this thing goes to the third round, I mean, this could be like Kimbo and Dada, like Dada 3000 all over again, just like winging bombs till one of them like falls over from exhaustion.
It's going to end up being somehow like a 27-26 fight.
I just don't know what to do here. I mean, I Figueiredo he's just not that good, but like, I don't know what to make it to Silva. He's like, will Da Silva win? And if you like Figueiredo, he's a great live bet spot after the first.
Sure.
He's probably going to, if he gets 10-8, especially, I mean, absolutely. But, yeah, I just bet the chaos here, man. Bet the ball shot, bet the draw. I mean, I was like, the funny thing is I was leaning fight doesn't go because I know Da Silva's never gone to the judges, but I mean, I don't know. Is Figueiredo strong enough to get him out of there? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of a one-sided bet, it seems like, and you only have about 5 minutes for it to cash.
I mean, Da Silva, like, in all fairness, like, I know he lost to Molina right early in the second, but looked all right in the first. Like, he looked all right till he didn't.
Yeah.
And I think Molina's, I don't know what Molina's ceiling is, but I think he's super talented. So
from what we've seen so far, absolutely, you'd have to agree
like,
with that.
I mean, so that's the thing is like, we've seen Figueiredo again, I can't stress this enough, that he goddamn lost to Malcolm Gordon. So I'm like, how can I go run and back him? And Torque, I'm stealing Dollar Store God of War. I'll give you credit, but I am completely stealing that.
Is that what it was? I was trying to read it while I was talking.
Dollar Store God of War. I
like it.
But so yeah, I'm going to
just play Dollar General.
I'm going to see if we can go 2 Yam Bag shots in a row. 2 Yam Bag bets back-to-back weeks.
Back-to-back sack.
You'll notice, by the way, the common theme of all my Yam Bag shots here is that it's never with fighters that are good.
Agreed. Well, I mean, hey, good fighters don't usually, smash people in the balls when they
like Paulo Costa is the only guy that I'll consistently take because he's a known cheater. Like, he cheats with weight. I'm sure he's, like, I don't want to speculate that he's on the gas, but like, as Norm Macdonald would say, allegedly, but also really.
Shout out Norm. I know he's watching wherever he is.
Well, Norm had a huge gambling problem, so I would hope that I'm doing him proud by
100%.
By doing a weekly show. I really hope that Norm's up there like, ah.
I mean, if we were on heroin right now, that's the only way he would be more proud of us. So,
Right.
Currently not on heroin, just for the record. So
I highly recommend, by the way, if you ever get a chance to see his bit about Germany.
Oh, it's the best.
Where he tells he's like, well, then who did they go to the war
with?
The world.
The world.
You think but it was close.
Yeah, everyone go watch. What's that one called? Gossip and Trickery or something.
Just look up his last appearance on Letterman. He pulled that one out of his bag, and Letterman loved the guy. So
Letterman, even anything on Conan as well, is just
he trolled
the shit out of Conan for 45 years. Anyways, this is not the Norm Macdonald show, even though sometimes I wish it was. Alexander Romanov. Oh my God.
I feel like we may have done this one before.
Deja vu all over again. Alexander Romanov going against Chase Sherman. I'll just start because I'll be super quick. I'm not playing Chase Sherman at all. The one fighter I'm not playing. I don't like him in cash or GPP. Romanov wins this fight 99.9% of the time. Give me Romanov in 90 to 100% cash. But when it comes to GPP, that could just be a bit too expensive unless he scores 120, 130. And I don't know if Chase Sherman can last that long. I don't think Romanov's going to make the optimal if anyone else scores, decently well. So 90 to 100% in cash, 20 to 35% in GPPs. I'll be well under the field GPPs for Romanov. What do you got for this one for the second time in as many weeks?
So it's always interesting when you see these kind of fights because the bookies already know, they have some line movement.
They've had a whole week.
Right. So what's curious to me is that his submission prop is even money. It's wild. His submission prop and his KO proper, I think it's subs plus 100, KOs plus 110.
Yep.
Sherman throws leg kicks. If one gets caught and he goes to the ground, there's your submission. It's done. It doesn't matter how he does it. If it's a forearm choke, if he takes the back, it doesn't really matter. Look, ground and pound is in play, yes, but I feel like Romanov just gets the takedown and goes to work. Now,
it's a trap.
So I like the sub at even money. It's crazy. And I see people being like, oh, I'm taking Sherman round 3. And I'm like, fuck out of here.
And said it best right here.
So I'm going to now I have another weird flyer here. Now everybody and their grandmother is going to bet round 1. And I know, and I understand it. It makes sense. But look who's gotten out of the first round with Romanov. Jared Vandera got out of the first round. Roque Martinez got out of the first round. So as a little bit of a fun flyer, I'm going to take Romanov round 2 sub at plus 850.
Plus 850, you said?
For round 2 sub.
Nice. Okay.
And not only that, but this is a fight. Look, man, that under is minus 1.5. I think it was minus 290. And everybody's going to be using this as parlay fodder and things. And
that's so dangerous.
And man, could Sherman just, I joke with you earlier today, when Sherman weighed in, I'm like, this would have been the time to just come in at fucking 300 pounds and be like, still want to fight, bitch? Well, I ain't cutting weight. I'm 300. I'll take the fine. Daddy just signed a new contract. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. I'm going to wake up on Sunday and I'll be good.
And Romanov would have been like, I'm going to legit murder you. Let's go. And that might have been Sherman's best chance to miss weight by such an absurd amount, a record breaking. William Knight would have been bro.
Jared Vandera would have blushed because of it.
Well, I got nothing more to add to this. And look, he's going to get a finish. So if you like the knockout here, that's all right. I get it, but I just think he catches a leg kick, gets him down, and
it's
and I believe there's an old bar the door, Katie. If Wheezy's watching, he'll appreciate that I said that.
He's going to get the arm triangle, or he's going to your Chase is going to give up his back. This shit is going to be
can we not rule out the verbal tap? Can we not rule out him just being like, yep, fuck this?
Yeah, that's true.
He's literally, he is, for anybody that was an old school wrestling fan in the 80s and early 90s, most of what you saw on TV was an established guy versus a jobber. So the guy could just hit a bunch of moves, Kamala could splash him 15 times and we all go home happy. Chase Sherman is literally the SD Jones, the Iron Mike Sharp of the UFC now. He's literally just going to be fed to dudes on this card. Bellator does it. Honestly, I don't really have a problem with it. Like, I don't have a problem with like a guy being like the get right fighter. Like, and if Sherman's getting paid nicely for it, I imagine he didn't have a problem either. If anything, he's going to have a name. Like when this contract's over, if he wants to go to like the fucking PFL, I mean, why not? Like, but let the guy get paid. And I'm sure he's like, I'm not, what am I doing?
Going to work at the grocery store again. That's what
he's like. Ow, my toe. Submit.
Jesus, that is more time, and I enjoyed it, but that is way more time than I thought we would spend on that fight. But well done. Next fight, Gerald Meerschaert going against Christoph.
I know what he's talking about here too. That's funny.
Sherman. Oh, geez.
I know what he's talking about. I'm not going to say, just to keep the channel, I don't want to say anything like, I'm not going to say anything, but
appreciate that.
But I don't hate people going to, after the show, of course, go check that out.
Of course. But yeah, Gerald Meerschaert, Christoph Jotko, what do you think about this one? I figure this is kind of pretty easy as far as, win conditions, etc.
Yeah, so I said at the beginning of the show, one of the things that was going to be the trap is because I'm a fan of GM3, and even though he looks like a guy that I cannot stand, that CJ changed his name. That's weird. Okay, that's he knows like who I'm talking about. I like watching him fight, but like I think like I have this romanticized version of him. He was losing the Stoltzfus fight. I mean, it was like a Paul Craig-esque like kind of performance. And the Muradov fight was weird too. Like he's fighting guys. The reason he's winning is because his opponents are making horrendous mistakes. Like Stoltzfus just, I don't know what the fuck he was doing, like on the ground with him in the third round. So Jotko, for as boring as he is, he's pretty smart. I mean, his ears are humongous, but he's pretty smart. He's pretty technical. He knows how to stay at range. GM3's, GM3 is incredibly hittable. I see Jotko just kind of wearing him out. I know that you said there's a possibility of Jotko getting a finish here. It really depends on Jotko, but I think he just pieces him up for the first 2 rounds easy. And the decisions prop is plus 180. I don't think you can really go wrong there. Jotko's minus 160. Even that price is really, it's not bad. Like you're not really paying a lot there. So I'm on the Jotko side. It breaks my heart because I do like GM3, but it's a horrible matchup for him. And I don't know if he can get a takedown. Jotko's takedown defense is excellent. It's north of 80%. Guy's excellent at stuff and takedowns. And it's like GM3's some expert at takedowns. He's good at wrapping submissions once you're already there. So I don't see where GM3, unless Jotko has like oddly bad cardio. I did eye up the GM3 sub round 3, but I just couldn't do it. I'm playing Jotko here, and I don't know. Although this is probably a difficult fight for you.
Kind of, but it's also pretty straightforward as well. I mean, I'll be probably playing a ton of Christoph Jotko in cash because that's a great breakdown. I think that's exactly what happens. Jotko by decision is probably his biggest, or his most obvious, I should say, path to victory. Whereas Gerald Meerschaert is going to have to, hope that Jotko follows him to the ground for some stupid ass reason to get a sub. So I really don't see Meerschaert. I'll probably play a little bit of him in GPP, obviously, for, such a low salary. A submission finish in any round, could propel him to the optimal lineup. So give me a little bit, like, not like 5 to 8% like some of the other guys I mentioned, but maybe 10 to 15%, maybe even 20% Meerschaert. But Jotko, I will have in a ton of cash lineups. I just think, he can stay on the outside, jab, jab, jab all day long. But there is no reasoning for what I'm about to say. So I do think that, Jotko, maybe he's hearing everybody this week. Maybe he's like, oh, Jotko can't knock anyone out, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'll fucking show them. And then he just goes and smashes Gerald Meerschaert. So I will definitely be playing a bit of Jotko in GPP because I do think that is a possibility. I do think maybe he gets his first UFC finish. Like I said, there is no reasoning to what I'm telling you. But Jotko has a decent pace, 2.69 points a minute, only 80 when he wins. But still, if he gets a win over Meerschaert, which I do expect, that's going to do great for cash. So that'll be my main focus is Jotko in cash. But like I said, I'll be playing him a little bit in GPP as well. And just one last thing, Mearshart has made the optimal lineup in 2 of his last 3 fights. So that is interesting. That was over who?
He fights
Muradov.
well. It's because he fights well as an underdog. That's his thing.
Yep,
like
Muradov
you're always getting him at like a great price. Well, Stoltzfus, he wasn't cheap. He must have been like 88. What
He
was he for that
fight? 9,000.
I mean, Stoltzfus is kind of,
Yeah, 6,900 he was against Muradov. So
yeah, I mean, this just to go to your point, I don't hate the KO sprinkle here. I mean,
sprinkle.
I don't even
says.
I honestly, and if you're curious, the round 3 KO is 14-1. I mean, GM3's cardio is not bad, but like he always looks like he's moving like so slowly.
Exactly. And if he gets hit squarely, and Jocko does have some power, he hasn't really shown a ton of it, but he has it. If Mearshart gets hit square, his legs might just turn off. And if his legs turn off, Jocko might be able to land 2 or 3 more. And depending on who the ref is, as long as it's not Keith Peterson,
no nonsense. There will be lots of nonsense. Hey, Jocko's 4-1 in his last 5 fights, by the way. His only loss is to Strickland. Like, that's nothing. That's no shame in that.
Nope. I mean, split with Barrio, beat Misha Serkinov in another split. Hey,
Serkinov can suck it.
Yeah,
for losing a fucking term. And
oh god, that fucking armbar.
What a dick.
Yeah, I agree. What a dick. Definitely. Even though we're just cursing a fighter's name, XBL on Twitch, we are good. I hope you are good as well. And guys, that's perfect timing. Thanks for being here. Hit that like. 25 people in the chat. Let's go. Hit the like. Subscribe to the MMA Engine so you never miss any content. We've got 2 other shows coming tonight. Brady is going right after live right after this, I believe at 7:15 Eastern time. Lou will shake it or will argue with me if I'm wrong. And then I believe Lou is going live with Couch Warrior MMA at 8 something. He'll 8:30 for Bet Elevator. Is that true?
That is all of that is. These are confirmed comments.
Fucking nailed it, and I didn't even call Couch Warrior Couch Potato like I was going to. I knew that wasn't right.
It's a bidding show. We're gonna
it's a lot of fun, guys.
We're gonna go to the fights. We're gonna try to one up each other on odds until the other one taps out, and then that person has to make the bet.
Yeah, it's like betting chicken,
right? So it stops you from being like, "Well, I'm taking the draw every fight." Like, we're trying to make the most reasonable bets we can. Although I will say, if you think my betting style is crazy, Couch Warrior
holds his own with Lou in the
that young man is when he gets to my age, he's going to be like legally insane.
And you're going to be in the corner just like stroking your beard like Pai Mei and Kill Bill.
Mark, thanks for making an appearance. I hope the swearing is not too. I hope you do not have children or pets nearby that can hear.
Or if you do, I hope you swear at them as well. So it's nothing new. We will keep it moving. We're making great time, Lou. Darren Elkins going against Tristan Connolly. Could 2 guys be more different as far as UFC records? 16-9 for Darren Elkins, 1-1 for Tristan Connolly. Why don't you? Who started? Do you want to start this one?
Sure.
I can't remember. You go ahead.
So much like the GM3 fight where I have to fade a guy I like. I have to do it again. Connolly, kind of a weird career, but he looked all right against Sabatini, especially considering the layoff he took. Sabatini's no joke. I have the feeling that if Sabatini fights another Canadian, just bet Sabatini decision. Decision win against Connolly, decision win against Laramie. Like, next Canadian fight, Sabatini by decision.
He's going through the whole country one by one.
The guys that Elkins usually has success against, the Minners, the Bektic, those kind of guys, are the guys that tire out in third. The guys that kind of exert everything in the first round, they kick his ass, and then Elkins just swarms him. It's not the case here with Connolly. Connolly manages his cardio really well. Neither one's like a god on the feet, but Connolly's got really good grappling and wrestling. Like, the guy's got a lot of subs in his back pocket. So the play here for me is Connolly. I'm going to do a weird little play here because you can never count Elkins out in the third. But again, because usually he's down 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
But, look, Elkins' durability is now very much in question. Now, Connolly's not hitting like Cub Swanson does, but he just got knocked out less than 2 months ago. So I'm playing the fight to end in the third round at 8-1.
Oh.
And then you just get whoever. If you get vintage Elkins, you get the win. If Connolly gets him down, I mean, like I said, if he wears him out, he wears him out. It's not like Elkins has been subbed a lot, but Connolly's sneaky good with subs here, and it's not like he's got one sub, like he varies them. He's got so I think the Connolly round 3 sub is kind of a cool play. I think that's, if I'm not mistaken, I thought it was 25-1.
Oof.
I'm pulling it up right
Juicy.
now. 28-1 for the round 3 sub. But yeah, I just think Connolly's going to kind of have advantages everywhere, and it breaks my heart to fade like 2 guys that like I really enjoy watching. But 2 Canadians on this card, man. That's what I'm going with.
That's a good test for you.
Yeah,
this week.
It's the gambling gods telling me, like, do not bet guys you like. If Billy Q was on this card, I'm like, I give a fuck. I'm betting Billy Q. I'm betting Billy Q.
Actively sweating
Q,
right now.
Jonathan Pierce, like one of them guys, like I'm betting them. I don't care.
Just lose just over here shaking for an hour the whole show. I will let's see. Elkins and Connolly, 86 and 76. These are 2 great salaries to play. I'll probably be on both sides for GPP. I don't know how much cash I'm going to play. This seems like Lou kind of alluded to, high variance type of fight. Elkins, tremendous pace setter, 3.85 points a minute, over 101 when he wins. And this is over 16 UFC wins, so not exactly a small sample size. Connolly getting outscored, but putting up 2.73 points a minute, 83 when he won, and he only allowed 82 when he lost. So, gosh, I mean, I'd like to just fade this whole thing, but I think it probably ends up going to decision. But I do like what you said about Connolly round 3. If he can hang on that long and he's not getting, just pieced up by Elkins the entire time, I think that could be an interesting type of play. And at 7,600, Connolly could 10x that salary, with a decision win over Elkins. So I do like that. I guess I'm kind of talking myself into playing a little bit of each for GPP. But then cash, I don't mind a little bit either. At the same time, I don't know why you would be playing this specific fight for cash. I think there's other options around these salary areas that would be better suited for that. But give me a bit in GPPs. Elkins for the possible finish on Connolly, but I just don't see that too many times. 1 time out of 10, twice out of 10. I like what you said about late Connolly sub, so I'll probably be a bit more focused on that. But I'm keeping exposures pretty low on this fight in general. It should be fun to watch, and I tend to think Elkins wins more than he loses. But I just don't trust either of them for GPPs. That said, either one of them could be big, leverage plays here. I assume neither one will be 2 owned. I would guess Elkins would be the higher owned, obviously. So maybe a little leverage play here for Connolly. Throw him in cash and hope to, get a decision win for a 70 to 80 point score. I think that's the best way to go about that. Next fight, something I'm looking forward to here. Grant Dawson going against Jared Gordon. I'll go ahead and start this one off. 8,700 for Grant Dawson, 7,500 for Jared Gordon. I'll be playing a ton of Grant Dawson in cash, and I also like him for GPP. He scores very well, 4 points a minute, 98 when he wins. The main reason I'll be playing him for GPP, though, his takedown and control time upside, 2.23 points per minute. If you add up his takedown points and control time points, these are incredible numbers. Look over to Jared Gordon, not allowing a ton, but still almost 0.6 points a minute in those 2 categories is what he allows. So give me Dawson heavy in cash and a decent amount in bigger tournaments as well, because he's also $133 cheaper than his average salary. But all that said, Jared Gordon, I will also be playing him more in GPPs than cash for obvious reasons. But Gordon, 5 points a minute, 106.62 when he wins. This is over 6 wins. So again, not a small sample size. $767 cheaper than his average salary. I won't keep going on and on about it, but Jared Gordon, has scored over 90 in 5 of his 6 wins. Give me Jared Gordon for GPP and maybe even a little bit of cash just for salary relief if I needed it for a few lineups, because he does score, like I said, 5 out of 6 wins over 90. Damn good number for cash lineups. So I love this fight. I'll be highly targeting this fight for both styles of tournaments. And I am interested to see in how you want to play this as far as betting goes.
So this is one of these fights where everybody's talk about how they're betting Dawson. Well, that line ain't moved all week.
True.
And minus 180, minus 180 right now. So
yeah,
always curious when I see that. So now if you want to bet the draw here and see if Dawson can go back-to-back draws,
ooh,
I don't hate it. I don't think moving to ATT is going to affect his cardio immediately. I think things like this take time. I don't think Gordon's a slouch on the ground. He's better on the feet. And I don't know. I'm starting to wonder if Grant Dawson's kind of like, I mean, he's good at his one trick, but maybe he's predictable. And it's the real question here comes down to, what do you think of Jared Gordon? Because if we think with Grant Dawson, we know what we're getting. Gordon's tough, and he's like weirdly tough, and it doesn't look like he does anything amazing, but then he hurts you, and you're like, oh shit, like he's not bad. So I'm gonna I have a couple of ways I'm playing it. I'm playing fight doesn't go. It's plus 125, I think. I could see Dawson getting him down and getting a TKO, or I could see him fatiguing late, and I'm gonna take a poke on Gordon round 3, 22-1. I have to against a gasser. I mean, look, man, 5 more seconds, Rick Glenn had him out of there. And Rick Glenn hadn't fought in like 38 years or whatever. So
not since they were calling him Ricky.
I got to think if Gordon can hang on, that round 3 is incredibly live for a finish. I got to think of 10-8s in play. But it's a fun fight. It's a good fight. Like, if you're on the Dawson side, I really don't fault you. Like, there's a lot to like. The optics are good. And I think he can clearly win the first 2 rounds. So, like, I understand that. I think he can get Gordon out of there in the first 2 rounds. If he doesn't, you're sweating holding that ticket. Like, you're losing your fucking mind holding that ticket. So, the play is Gordon. I don't feel great about it. Maybe it's a little bit of a contrarian play, but the round 3, I have to make that play against a guy who has shown some cardio. I mean, even against Leonardo Santos, Dawson's cardio did not look great in the 3rd. I know he won, but like, you know, Santos is just worse at cardio.
Right.
Like, maybe he's worse at riding a bike, but I don't have a lot of confidence in this one. This is going to be just this could be the fight of the night if Gabe Green Johan is a quick ending.
I 100% agree. I'm super excited for this one. You know, both guys could potentially get a finish here. And if Jared Gordon, you know, even wins, 7,500 is low enough that he could be on the optimal lineup with an 80 to 90 point score, you know, especially if Romanov is out here making it, you know, at 9,600. So something to think about there. 3rd to last fight, I believe, of the night. Andrei Touchy-Feely. I don't know where I stand on that nickname. I guess part of it's clever, but part of it's just weird. Joe Anderson Brito on the other side. Let's see here. Why don't you go ahead and start this one off? What are you leaning to? Because I don't know that Feely, that might just be a little bit too wide. Minus 240, almost 250 at this point. Yeah,
I mean, he's coming off the weird, you know, the fight against Pineda where he's, ow, my eye. And like, Pineda tried to fight. Like, Pineda didn't take, like, he did not Alan Patrick this fight. He tried, and he just, you know, that's just the end of the fight. So, full disclosure, my buddy who's a fan of yours, his nickname he's Tommy Touchy-Feely. So,
that's better. Okay.
There's a
little alliteration there.
I know he's a fan of him. Look, to me, I don't know what to make of Brito. I feel it's a weird like he fights Algio, who, you know, I love, like Philly boy.
Yep.
Feely's way better than Algio. This is like a weird thing off a loss. Like,
this is a weird match make.
So they must feel pretty good about Brito, but like, I mean, Feely's proven like he's so dynamic, and like all of a sudden him not knocking out Charles Jourdain has aged really well. Like his win, like that win's aging really well. Wheezy has this is his ass shaving of the week.
Really?
He has this Feely round 2 knockout, and I am not one to go against the Wheezy ass shaving of the week.
It's dangerous. It's
at your own caution. Go against the Wheezy ass shaving of the week. So I'm gonna play. Well, that's a hell of a nickname. That's a great nickname. I'm gonna play Feely in the distance.
Okay.
I'm gonna play him. Let me see what his in the distance line was. Oh, fight doesn't go is plus 120, which is fantastic.
That might be good enough.
Because then you get Brito's round 1 possibility, but Feely round 2 KO is 7-1. Round 2 is 6-1. I'm going to be honest with you. After I saw back-to-back first-round submissions last week by Canadians that did not have subs, round 2 is fine. I'll take the plus 600. I don't need the knockout prop here. And yeah, I mean, you're going to be sweating for a few minutes with Brito. I also, let's be honest, I question his age of being 27.
Yep. Show me the papers.
If he's 27, so am I. So that's it for me on this one.
Yeah, I think for DraftKings, Andrei Fili, if you want to play him, play him in cash, but I just don't think he's going to be great for GPPs. I think he's a bit too expensive, unless he does what Lou is saying. And, I suppose I should take that back. If he gets that second round knockout, he could score triple digits. So I'll kind of walk that back a bit. I'll have him in a little bit of GPPs. I do like him for cash here as well, because I think he does win the fight. 3.13 points a minute is his pace, 91 when he wins, so not terrible. The only problem is he is $1,200 plus over his average salary. That is one hell of a jump. But he's 5 of his 9 UFC wins, he's put up over 90. 2 of those wins, he's put up over 100. Brito on the other side, giving up 3.88 points a minute to Bill Algio, like you mentioned. 88 points in his loss. I'm not going to obviously be playing Brito in cash whatsoever, but I don't mind him in GPPs here. There is a strong finish upside, especially in that first round. Andrei Fili does have a bit of a chin issue, not a big one, but he has been knocked down before. I believe it's been 3 times. Okay. When was the last one? Bear with me here. He got knocked down against Charles Jourdain, and he won that fight. So that was back in June of 2020. So it has, as what's his name from Stained says, it's been a while since Andrei Fili has been knocked out.
Blocked and reported.
Head over there.
You're
lucky I didn't sing it. I was about to sing it.
Blocked and reported from the channel.
Make an ass out of myself. But yeah, so Fili for cash, maybe a little GPPs for that possible huge finish, or not huge finish, but huge score in a finish win upside. And then Brito, no cash. Play him a little bit in GPPs, though. I don't mind, 15, even 20% Brito. And I might even be including him in my changed lineup from the Wednesday DraftKings show. So a little spoiler alert there if anyone actually cares. Co-main event of the evening, Andrei Arlovski. This is Jake Collier's second co-main event of 2022. This guy, I mean, he's got to be, Scrooge McDuckin it in his room full of dollar bills at this point. 8,400 for Arlovski, 7,800 for Collier. I'll go ahead and start this one off. 3.17 points a minute is good for Collier. I guess I don't even know. I'll probably play a little bit of Collier in GPP. Even saying that out loud makes me chuckle. You know what? Maybe not. I might just fade this fight as a whole. Arlovski, I could play a little bit in cash, but I'm not 100% certain that he wins this fight is the problem. I won't be playing any Arlovski in big tournaments. If you tuned into the Wednesday show, you heard me and Wheezy talk about that to an extent. Arlovski does not score well at all, especially in his last 5. He scores like less than 60 points in a win. So keep him out of your big tournament plays. Play him in cash if you want to. I just don't really see why you would do that too much. Jake Collier, I think, has a decent chance of winning. He has made the optimal lineup hilariously once out of his last 2 fights, and that was against
Chase.
That was against Chase Sherman. So, but yeah, I guess a little bit of Jake Collier, but I don't think he's going to knock out Arlovski. I don't think Arlovski's going to knock out Jake Collier. So, yeah, I'm keeping my expectations pretty low here. You could pay $100 less or $100 more and just roster Chito or Marlon Vera. So that's probably what I would.
Chito. By the way, Chito is Marlon Vera. So
did I? Oh, yeah. You're
a hell of a trick. Rostering them twice.
Well, they're both have such short names. That's what it is. Right. So I meant Rob Font and Chito. Thank you for the correction. What do you got for this one?
So when I saw Rob Font at the scales and he kind of looked shaky, I was like, oh my God, wait, we're getting Jake Collier in the main event. Like, this is amazing. Like, Collier Arlovski's going to headline this shit show. That would have been awesome. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your perspective, Rob Font will be fighting tomorrow. There's only one way I can bet this fight. By the way, I should mention, Collier 265 on the dot. Looked all right. He's going to be 20 pounds bigger. I mean, well, he's 20 pounds bigger as of right now. Who knows, like, by tomorrow.
A couple more rotisserie chickens.
I think Collier early. I think he'll fade late. Arlovski didn't look super impressive against Vandera, but it's an Arlovski fight. So there's really only one way to bet this. Fight to end in a split decision. Plus 400. Please and thank you. And let's move on. I don't like rooting against Arlovski. You know, I don't know if Collier's going to do any takedowns. I don't know. But I'm going to play it to root for chaos and go for the split decision.
There you go. Collier landing 1 takedown in his last 5 against Chase Sherman. You guessed it.
That's all he needed.
That's right.
One, and then he squashed him.
All right, guys, we are at the main event for the last time. Thank you for joining us. Hit that like on this video and be sure to subscribe to the MMA Engine and never miss anything regarding UFC cards. Next week, we got a big pay-per-view, so definitely now's the time to hit that sub button. Main event, Rob Font going against Marlon Vera. I always like to let you finish off the card. I love to hear your take on the main event, so I'll just start this one off if you don't mind. Chito Vera, 7,900. Rob Font, 8,300. I will be playing a ton of these guys, probably in GPPs for sure, and maybe even in cash too. Rob Font, 3.41 points a minute, 107 when he wins. This is over 9 wins. So he's a fantastic GPP play this week. He did look bad on the scales, missed weight by 3.5 pounds, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not reading too much into that. He should look fine tomorrow, back to where he, is usually fighting. The only thing that he's going to lose out of that is 30 or whatever % of his purse, which is unfortunate for him, especially if he loses to Chito. But like I said, I like Rob Font for GPP. I don't think Vera is going to get finished, but this is a 5-round fight, and Font can score well in those fights. He put up 113 when he beat Cody Garbrandt by decision. Surprisingly, he's pretty much the one guy that didn't knock him out. Marlon Vera on the other side, 7,900. Slow starter, as everyone knows, but by the time the second, 7.5, 8, 9, 10 minutes roll around, Vera is a killer. And now he has 5 rounds to work. I absolutely love Marlon Vera for GPPs. He could finish Rob Font 3rd round, 4th round. Plus Jose Aldo was hitting this guy with jabs and he was just falling over. So I don't know what happened there, but it has not even been 6 months since that fight. So I'm kind of thinking Font maybe isn't 100%. Either he, I've been hearing speculation on, is there an injury? Is that why he missed weight? It could be, who knows what it is, but there is speculation out there is my point. I like Vera, like I said, for GPP. I like him for cash too. Not a ton, but a little bit. I just think he scores, 90, 100 points in a win, especially if he finishes. I'll be focused more on this one for GPP, bigger type tournaments, obviously, but man, there is not, if there's a more exciting fight on this card, I'd like for you to tell me about it. Maybe the Dawson Gordon fight, but this one is right up there, if not at the top of the list. What have you got for this one, Lou? You taking a shot on the underdog here?
I am.
Nice.
I'm on the Vera side.
Love it.
And it has nothing to do with the weigh-ins. For the record, so it comes in a little bit heavy. Font's not a wrestler. I don't think the weight's going to really matter. And Font's gone 5 rounds, so
yep.
I'm really not worried. And this is the only time he's ever missed weight. So I don't want to read too much into it. His body language didn't look great. Physically looked all right. So let me just get that out of the way. Yes, seems to be a very common thing that Font's going to win the first round. So the live bet is a must. If you're on the Vera side, the live bet is a must. If Vera comes out hot and you miss that, so be it. That's all you can do. Now, the one thing I like here is, while I'm not comparing Vera explicitly to Jose Aldo's talent, his fighting style is this is about as close as you can get.
True.
And we saw how Font dealt with it. Now, I don't know if Vera is going to try to backpack him or use any wrestling. I think he would be smart to mix it in to get Font moving his hands, the targets around. Because if he starts mixing in some takedowns attempts or gets him thinking, those kicks become available. Everything opens up for Vera. And I think that, we haven't seen Vera in a 5-round fight, against Aldo. If Aldo hadn't a backpack him, his cardio was good. Aldo just vet savvied his ass. That's what he did. And I think Vera, I see people playing these round 4, round 5 props, but Font's tough, man. Like, I mean, I don't think I think Vera's I am also on the Vera by decision, but I don't like betting that in 5-round fights. I just get like it's like too much anxiety.
It's 10
like,
extra minutes of sweat.
Yeah, like I mean, but I think that's how he wins. If 3-round fight, actually 3-round fight would be really interesting to handicap.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
But yeah, I mean, I think Vera, and if you want to even make it better, you go a very unanimous decision. But I think he's just going to start taking over late. But I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I know you hate stacking. Is this a potential stack spot? On a card to get to Romanov, and if you wanted to get to, like, let's say Mazzani, who I know we don't love in terms of like betting, but in DraftKings we do.
Right.
Or Feely, who you think can pour it on. I don't know who the next highest person is. It's probably Tyra.
Tyra, then Dawson, 87.
So if you want to get to Dawson, is this a potential spot to stack?
I suppose you could. Again, I mean, in GPPs, I'm almost always against it because the numbers just rarely work out. You have to have so many other things go well for a losing fighter to make the optimal lineup. But in cash, it might not be terrible because if this goes 5 and Rob Font, is not getting finished early, he could. I mean, what are our numbers here?
Like, what do you think the loser gets?
28 in the loss. I think in a decision, 5-round decision, I think the loser could have 50, 60 points, honestly.
Okay.
Especially if that fighter is Chito. But honestly, if the longer it goes, the more I think Vera wins. So, I mean, I guess so. If it goes to decision, maybe Vera ends up with triple digits. Maybe that would be huge. And if that's the case, Font could end up with 50 or 60. So you're looking at 150, 160. What's that? 75 to 80 points a piece on average. I think that's okay. If you're looking for salary relief, that way you can get to your Romanovs plus your Tyras if you wanted to, although I don't know why you'd play him in cash. But you could get to your Romanovs, your Mazzanis, your Grant Dawsons, etc. You could have all 3 of those.
Just interesting to me this week when I've been trying to construct lineups that I don't have a ton of faith in a lot of dogs this week to score well. Like I like Connolly to win. I don't like him to score well. I like Dawson, or I like Gordon to win. But again, if he's just getting a round 3 finish and really didn't do anything at that point, I don't like his potential. And then, like, even Feely is not a huge, I know he's a favorite, but Feely's not traditionally a big point scorer. I mean, I think he had like a 5 takedown fight and he got like 77 points or something. I mean, so it's tricky to me. Like, because I'm with you, like, I don't really like the stack concept, but when I know it's probably going decision and they're both high volume guys, and while not like extreme, there's minimal takedown upside here.
Yep.
There is takedown upside. So I'm just debating it. I think, like, I have to get to both. Like, there's no doubt I have to 100%. Get to both. And Vera, obviously, I like it that he's $400 cheaper. But yeah, I mean, you're the pro here with the stacks. I know, like, it's not your thing, and but
this is probably the most exposed fight, though, for sure. It would have to be at these salaries, at these prices.
Yeah, I think, like, between this, the Gabe Green fight, and the Dawson fight, I think every lineup has to have some combination of the 3 of them, and then hope that Chase Sherman runs away and that Romanov scores like no points.
Yeah, or he just finishes. He grabs his leg, not even takes him down, standing. Let's see the second standing arm triangle choke in UFC history.
I got one more question for you before we get out of here from a DFS standpoint. Who scores more points this weekend, Romanov or Gina Mazzani?
Dude, I honestly think Gina Mazzani has the potential to score more points.
Like, her just getting like
3 or
2
4
rounds
takedowns.
Just 2 rounds of like takedowns and control time and a finish. I mean, she might get 130. I mean, I'm with you. I'm with you, dude. Like, I'm with you. I think she can just like an absolute jihad.
Well, because Romanov's going to be owned in 70%, 60% minimum. And so I'm planning on being at 20 to 30%. So that's going to free up so many things for me.
What was his ownership last week across the tournaments?
I think it was
68.
Yeah, it was around there. In cash, it was like 95.
I know what Mike Jackson's ownership was. 4.6% for Mike Jackson. Can you imagine starting? First of all, if you took Barry, come on, man. Like,
right?
You saw me arguing with Mike Jackson on, like,
Yeah.
On Twitter, right?
Yes.
So Mike Jackson writes some comment about like the guy's using his white privilege. Dean Barry's using his white privilege. And all I wrote back, like other people that I know were arguing, but all I wrote back was, hey, bro, could you have won by submission? I had you 35-1. We're not all lawyers, dude. So that's all I wrote. And then he's like coming at me, and I'm like, my response was, don't you put that shit on me. I bet on you. And he goes, I apologize. He said, I apologize. It wasn't you. Glad you won some money. Thank you. What I did not tell him is, I appreciate that that your opponent got a point deduction to pay off the Yambag bet.
Dude, I mean, who wanted to see anyone get kicked in the dick? Not me, but the reaction to that and the reaction to the commentator's reaction. Oh my god.
Felder was such a wet blanket, but
Dude,
Cormier,
we should turn off the mic. Shut up.
I don't love Cormier as a commentator, but like you could tell he was like just goddamn like he was losing his mind like at everything he was saying and rolling over. He's like, oh
shit, he kicked me in my fucking dick.
He was losing it. Like, he held back everything he wanted to say. Like, and that's like one of those times where I'm like, man, I kind of like Cormier. He's an all right guy. I don't like Cormier with Rogan.
No.
But now I sort of like him with Cruz because now knowing like they kind of don't like each other, it's sort of funny to me. Like,
have you ever seen Fear of a Black Hat?
I have not.
Oh, you gotta watch it. Anyone out there? It's just like when he goes, "Oh, my dick." He just says, "Oh, my dick," like 50 times in a row. That was Mike Jackson on Friday. That was brutal.
I think what's funny is I think he would have won that fight had the fight been extended because he took a lot of shots, but like he went for a takedown and he got the takedown. He didn't keep the takedown, which he might have been rattled, but Barry was just, I don't know that Barry he wouldn't have kept that pace up. And like, I sort of wonder if Jackson just could have kind of hung in there. Like, I'm not saying like he would have won, but I certainly saw some things that led me to believe like, Barry cracked him a few times, couldn't get him out of there with like the one clean shot. So I wonder like, and I don't blame Jackson for being like, the hell with this. Like, I'm out of here. I'm done with this.
Eye gouge was Priscilla Cachoeira deep. So
like, I don't like everybody's like, well, he could have fought. It's like, yeah, but why would you want to? Dude?
Why would you?
You're not a pro fighter, number one. And number two, you're in there with a savage who's cheating like left and right. Like, no, dude. Like, I'd have been like the same, be like, nope, I'm done, man. Because who knows? Look, no, I don't want any of these guys to get like seriously hurt except for Parker Porker. But like he could have, I mean, honest to God, like Mike Jackson could have been seriously injured. Like, like life, like life injured, not career injured. So I don't really blame him for just being like, the hell with this, man. Give him a title fight next fight. Just let's go, dude. He's
earned it. God damn it. I heard someone making a joke that the only reason that Dean Barry was even in the UFC is because someone from the UFC thought that they were signing Ian Gary, but instead they were signing Dean Barry.
I mean,
hope that's true.
I know another guy at 170 that's looking for an opponent. Like his name is Khamzat Chimaev. And I don't, as the GOAT would say, Tajik, I don't see why not.
I don't see why not.
So,
well, Lou,
we made it.
We made it right over an hour as usual. I'll go ahead and tell the people you can find me, MonkMMATics, on Twitter, on YouTube. Go ahead and please sub to the channel over there. Like I said, I'm about 10 away from 250, so please help me out. Help me reach that milestone before the next pay-per-view. Other than that, guys, be sure to check out. Rather, I don't even know what I'm saying. Be sure to click the like button on this video, subscribe to the MMA Engine channel, and stick around. There we go. For Brady's show coming up in about 35 minutes. And then, as we mentioned before, at Lou Betya going with Couch Warrior at 8:30 Eastern time for the Bet Elevator show. Again, I can't say enough about this show. I had a blast watching it last week, and I will not miss an episode this week. So be sure to check that one out. It's a lot of fun. Lou, what do you got for the people?
We will be using the Fight Studio tonight also.
Oh, then definitely tune in for that.
Gonna dust off the new stuff. Do not highlight what CJ wrote ever, because that's my job to do that.
Okay,
there we go. I'll give him the.
I was just about to do it anyway.
Give him the Monk and Lou rub.
That's right.
I'm on tonight. I'm probably doing John Kelly's best bets panels. I actually got one right last week. So
we going Romanov?
No, I did
this
not do
week?
Romanov money line. Barry Alt. You know, it's funny. Had I done Romanov money line, I still wouldn't have any wins in that show. Next week, however, for the pay-per-view is going to be a little different, a little crazier. Brady will not be around for reasons that he can explain, but all wonderful things. So I am going to be subbing in on the Wednesday DFS show on Pub Sports with my co-host Monk and Wheezy and Luke, who I always call myself Bargain Basement Luke. Now I'm going to be Bargain Basement Brady all week. And then on Thursday, I'll be doing probability with Uncle Wheezy. So yeah, I have a lot of spots next week. I'm not sure what else other than that, but and one more thing before we go. Coming up at the end of June, which is, I know this is a while away, but we've already and we're back. I know we're kind of a little while away, but Eric Betts Fights and Phoenix MMA will be my co-hosts on a Monday show at the end of June to give you all your Contender Series picks right after the weigh-ins, right after the lines drop. Not a lot of people do it. It's going to be the three of us. I don't know if you've seen Phoenix. Kid is like goddamn genius. Eric and I are like the Statler and Waldorf of the like MMA space. So it should be a really good time. And like I said, not a lot of people really do the Contender Series stuff. So
True.
Hopefully we can give you guys an edge. Those lines get steamed like a motherfucker. So like hopefully we can get you guys like everything you need for your betting tips for the Tuesday night fights. I love watching the Contender Series. Guy in the chat, CJ and I had a blast all season watching and I have to mention, of course, the legend of Johnny Parsons was born last season. Who will be lose new Johnny Parsons? No Bert on this show, unfortunately. Also,
you teaching him to drive yet or what?
I mean, if you're gonna send somebody a video of UFC picks, make sure if it's a child that they have a shirt on, because it's really fucking weird. It's really weird. And Brady, I'm really sorry that I sent you that video. I probably should have vetted it before I sent it.
Maybe. But Brady, we've seen a couple. There was a video of Brady I saw yesterday that really changed my outlook for the better. Again, I don't know if he. All I can say is quite a handsome video, that one. Very handsome indeed. So, guys, thank you. We've gone way off the fucking rails here. Thank you so much for watching, as usual. For Lou, for myself, for the entire MMA engine, we thank you. And as always, I want you guys to enjoy the fights. So, enjoy. And we'll see you next week for UFC pay-per-view 274.